I mean, it's just, if I pulled up the profile of cheater, con man, clown, and coward,
results,
your face would be next to it. Now, you sitting up here with your wife standing next to you.
She's my 7th wife, Your Honor. Things that's been said in here, all of it's not true.
She actually sent between 5 and 7 nude pictures of herself to an ex. I went through her phone and I seen she was talking
We weren't
with.
together.
I called this guy off my phone and he didn't want to talk to me at all. And you know what, I'm at a point in the relationship where I'm like, you know what, I really want to know what's going on. So I sent him $100 cash for him to tell me, just tell me what's going on with you and my girlfriend.
This case is a full-on disaster from the start. Judge Lake introduces Streeter vs. Hartfield, where Ms. Streeter says Mr. Hartfield tricked her into having his baby while hiding the fact that he was married. He denies being the father and blames other men, but everyone can already tell this is going to be a mess.
You claim that during your relationship with the defendant, he convinced you to get pregnant with his child, but what you didn't know is that he was a married man.
Yes, Your Honor.
You say Mr. Hartfield is only denying the child in order to save his marriage. You say you made a mistake by having an affair, but you know you are not father of Ms. Streeter's child. You claim that Ms. Streeter was openly sleeping with other men besides you.
Ms. Streeter says the baby was planned, and they even tracked ovulation to make it happen. Mr. Hartfield says that's a whole lot of lies and acts like he barely knows her. Someone is definitely lying, and it's not looking good for him.
We went to hospital when we got the birth control taken out together.
She's telling you guys a bunch of lies. A whole lot of lies. That's convincing. That's definitely not the truth. We went in and took a birth control out together. That's definitely not true.
We planned this child, and when we even planned the date, you know, I had an app on my phone that tracked my ovulation, and we knew what we was doing when we was having sex.
Ms. Streeter finds out he's married the old-fashioned way, Facebook stalking. She sees happy pictures of him and his wife, but he tells her those are old, like that actually means anything. She calls his wife anyway, and now the truth is out.
He had ended up telling me a relative's name, and I had went on Facebook and found the relative, then found Mrs. Hartfield's page, and that's when I seen pictures of them. And I didn't even call her right away because he had told me, like, them pictures are old, she's professional, and for her image. Matter of fact, I didn't even call her, I text her and let her know, like, your husband's been treating on you for 8 months, and I'm 5 months pregnant. This never happened, but he just texted me just recently.
Ms. Streeter brings receipts, text from Mr. Hartfield saying, "I'm horny, come over." He tries to deny it, then admits it, then says they were playing a game. Judge Lake looks like she needs a vacation after hearing that nonsense.
He texted me earlier this week.
This is a text that says, no, and then I'm horny, and then come over. And the next line says, I'm serious, I am horny as hell.
That is true. I did send those messages.
Oh, you did?
Yes, I did. Hold on, let me explain to you why. Because of this game that she and I like to play, that she likes to play.
Now, Mr. Hartfield says he only texted her because she threatened to call his wife. He even claims she was blackmailing him over a stolen car. The excuses just keep getting dumber, and the judge is over it.
Your Honor, I am dealing with a 22-year-old. It's because I didn't do things for her from the extortion that she's been doing to me that she's gonna call my wife. That time she did. Next time, she said she's gonna report that I stole her car. So I'm in a situation where I either get locked up if I don't play her little childish game.
Entertain her, you pacify her with flirtation.
Mrs. Hartfield finds out about the affair through a random text from Ms. Streeter. She confronts her husband, and he hits her with, "She ain't nobody." She decides right then and there that she's done with this nonsense.
The text message that I received from her.
You get a text message.
I'm in a relationship with your husband and have been for 8 months, and I'm pregnant. And that's it. Bleepity bleep is going on here. And I asked him about it, and he said, oh, she's just some little girl. She ain't nobody. I didn't like texting, so I called her. We had a conversation to which I told her, best of luck.
Ms. Streeter says Mr. Hartfield was excited at the hospital and signed the birth certificate. But then, at the last second, he freaked out and had his name removed. The evidence is right there, but he still tries to talk his way out of it.
He was there when the baby was born. You know, that's my baby, that's my boy. I never got to see none of my kids. He needs to be in the house with both parents.
Were you telling her these things, Mr. Hartfield?
I tried to get him to sign the birth certificate. The reason why, he signed it at first, but it was time for the witness to see us, and he like, you too anxious about me signing this birth certificate. You know what, miss, take my name off, talking to the witness. Like,
Mr. Hartfield says she told another man he was the dad too. Ms. Streeter calls him a liar. And honestly, at this point, we all believe her. The judge looks 2 seconds away from throwing her gavel.
What do you mean? You say you're not the only man?
There's a guy in our local town that she's also told him that he was the father, and she promised to give him some more loving once she had the child.
For me, I feel like it's an iffy thing with him. If I don't want to be with him, he don't want to be with the baby. But it's times when I have to come over and he's
Your Honor,
the
that
baby.
is absolutely crazy nuts what she's saying.
Turns out Mr. Hartfield had a whole secret apartment that his wife didn't know about. Ms. Streeter found out first, and dropped that bomb right on his wife. The pictures of him hanging out with the baby at this secret hideout just make it worse.
I never had a
Ms.
relationship with
Hartfield,
her.
you felt like he was living with you when he was sleeping with her.
Yes.
And you didn't know about this other place.
I did not know about the other place when she told me.
I have pictures of
He
him and my
took
son
pictures,
spending
yes.
time together. Spent times with my son when he claimed.
Is this at the other place?
Yeah.
And this is
that's
baby
me.
Caleb
That's right. I
together.
did that last week, actually.
Judge Lake has had enough and calls him a cheater, con man, clown, and coward. The audience claps because she's saying what we're all thinking. But now, the moment we've all been waiting for, DNA results.
I mean, it's just, if I pulled up the profile of cheater, con man, clown, and coward,
Results.
your face would be next to it. Now, you sitting up here with your wife standing next to you.
She's my 7th wife, Your Honor. Things that's been said in here, all of it is not true.
The results are in, and guess what?
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Hartfield, you are the father.
This whole mess is about to be a roller coaster. Miss Whalen says Mr. LeBlanc, a married man, is the dad of her son, Vincent. His wife says if the DNA test proves it, she's out.
Ms. Whalen, you admit you've been in a sexual relationship with Mr. LeBlanc, a married man, and claim he is the father of your 2-year-old son, Vincent Whalen. You are determined to prove that you are not the father of Miss Whalen's son in hopes of saving your marriage.
Yes, Your Honor.
This man acted like science was lying to him. Miss Whalen took multiple pregnancy tests, and he still sat there like, no way. Meanwhile, his wife had no clue a text was about to ruin her day.
Back when I was pregnant, he was staying in my house. It was one night I was telling him that I might be pregnant because I hadn't started my menstruation, so he went out and got some pregnancy tests, asked me to take them. He sat on side my bed holding his head. When I took the first one, I gave it to him and it showed that I was pregnant, and he still sat there and said, oh man, this can't be true. You can't be pregnant. And it was only because he didn't know how he was gonna go back and tell his wife that I was pregnant.
Imagine getting a text saying, I can't believe I did this again. No phone call, no explanation, just a casual message about a whole other baby. And that little word again? Oh, it's about to cause chaos.
I found out about Vincent through a text message through my husband. No phone call.
A phone call's not even good enough
I
for
need
that.
to see you face to face. None of that. It was through a text message. The text message stated, I can't believe I did this to you again. Again.
The word I'm hearing is again.
Right, again.
Turns out Vincent isn't even Mr. LeBlanc's first secret baby. He already has another child, Jaden, from a previous affair. The judge and Mrs. LeBlanc are both officially done with him.
Prior to Vincent, there was Jaden.
Who's the mother of that child?
I am. That's my 3-year-old.
Unfortunately, yes, sir.
To make the exact same mistake again?
And that's, Your Honor, why I didn't want, at that time, when she was telling me about Vincent, her being pregnant with Vincent.
The judge shuts everyone down real fast. She says both women are letting this man run back and forth like a lost puppy. And just when you think it can't get worse, he pulls out another excuse.
None of you all gonna come out looking any better than the other one. It's a mess. And it's babies coming into the world and a daddy going back and forth between houses. I'm just trying to I'm like watching a tennis match. I got a married man bouncing back and forth between his mistress and his wife. You all letting them, then you all wanna come into court and downgrade one another. Come on, man.
Now he says he heard rumors that Miss Whalen was sleeping with a neighbor. A guy in a pickup truck apparently hinted at it, and somehow that's his proof. The judge is not buying any of it.
There was rumors, Your Honor, going around that Miss Whalen had slept with the neighbor. I was confronted at one time. A guy pulled up on me in a pickup truck. He was like, oh, you know who I am? I was like, nah, who are you? There was rumors going around that she had slept with this guy.
We're here to offer proof that is relevant.
Grandma gets up and immediately calls her granddaughter a sneaky little hoe. The judge tries to calm things down, but it's full-on reality TV drama at this point. Even the audience can't believe what they're hearing.
Well, if she come out, Mr. LeBlanc's not the father, then I just know my granddaughter was a sneaky little hoe that thought past me, and I didn't catch that. But I honestly don't believe that. See, whores sleep around. Whores leave their husband and go sleep with other men and let him go sleep with other women and then want to get back. That's what whores do.
Hold on.
No whore right here.
This man really stands there and says, I love my wife. The audience is so over him, and the judge just shakes her head. Sir, your wife is done. Read the room.
I love my wife, Your Honor. I want to be with my wife. But at the same time, my wife, it's a struggle because it's hard to try to be with my wife knowing there's a possibility that these other kids are mine. And my wife trying to have a move forward in our marriage, it's hard for her to accept, bringing other kids into the household that's outside our marriage.
Exactly. That's why you ain't had no business doing it.
The results are in, and surprise, surprise.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. LeBlanc, you are the father.
This part is wild from the start. Miss Phillips sues Mr. Gibbies for $1,000, claiming he's not helping with their baby. She says he's 100% the dad and wants a test to prove it, but Mr. Gibbies isn't buying it. He says she's been with too many other guys and isn't his problem.
You are suing your ex-boyfriend for $1,000 in childcare expenses you claim he has ignored since denying that he is the father of your 2-month-old daughter, Jordan, whom he refuses to meet. Today, you have petitioned the court for a paternity test to prove he is the father and are looking to recover your $1,000 childcare expenses.
This breakup sounds straight out of a soap opera. Phillips thought Gibbies was the one, but after some spiritual event, he suddenly said, "I gotta work on myself." Then, in the middle of the night, he drove her to a hotel and left her there. She was confused, like she got kicked off a reality show. But wait, there's a holiday party story coming up that's even crazier.
I thought it was gonna be the best situation. I thought that actually the one for me. I think it started for me when, he went to this spiritual convention and he came home that night. He was just like, "You gotta go."
Then he goes to a spiritual convention.
Yes.
And comes home and tells you to get out.
Yeah, he told me he had to go because he was working on himself, whatever. So I was like, well, it's late.
Things get messy, fast. Gibbies goes to Miami, and while he's gone, he hears Phillips was partying too hard. She denies it at first, but later admits she cheated. Gibbies is crushed but stays in the relationship. But don't blink, because up next, car drama and a shocking confession.
2 days later, I get a call from a mutual friend that says she was involved in an event.
I called you and told you.
My mutual friend told me first. They left and went to a party where I know what type of girl she is. She's a very promiscuous girl, put it like that herself, because she's seen her.
I got right in the car and I seen her. I even said hey to me. In that situation, yes, I was.
Originally, she told me that was her brother's.
This story has more twists than a curly fry. Gibbies' friend admits he hooked up with Phillips and had to hide when Gibbies showed up. She says they weren't together then, but she fires back, finding condom wrappers in his bag after Miami. And next, texts, jail time, and trust issues galore.
That's when the black car pulls up. He said, "Yeah, she told me to go ahead and let's get out because it's my boyfriend. He's crazy." I said, "Did the black car look like this one?" And he was like,
"Yeah, that was a friend of mine. We weren't even together."
And he
I did have
explained
sex
in
with him
detail.
now, and I felt bad about it. I told him I felt bad. I should never did that. I didn't even feel good about it at all. The bag that he took to Miami, I see condoms in the open, and they open and one missing.
This is the he said, she said Olympics, and nobody's winning. Phillips says she was loyal, but Gibbies says she lies about where she goes. Then he drops a bomb. While he was in jail for 2 months, he found flirty texts from other guys in her phone. And just when it couldn't get worse, boom, married man alert.
A lot of times, because there's been times that we actually did things together, which I understand, because if you cheat once, then you think he's gonna think you always cheating. But then that's why I kept myself around him.
There was times,
so he wouldn't think that something was wrong, and that's what I did. I even had problems with my people. My grandmother was getting mad because I always was running over there to him.
This one had everyone shook. Phillips says Gibbies told her he was separated, but he was still legally married. Judge Lake sets him straight. You're still married till the papers say otherwise. And just when you think that's the biggest twist, the next confession takes things up a notch.
When I first met him, whatever, and we was getting into our relationship, he told me that he had been married before.
My wife at the time was living in Mississippi. We had been legally separated for almost 2 years.
A man is married until he is divorced. But at some point you found out.
Yes.
2 weeks later, but you continued.
4 years now? I did, because by then I felt like I was stuck. I was young and I felt like I was stuck.
This part is sad and confusing. Phillips moved 800 miles away while pregnant, and Gibbies missed everything. Doctor visits, the birth, all of it. He felt left out and doubted the baby was his. Phillips says she just wanted to escape the drama. But now, Gibbies' sister is stepping in with her own take.
Who gets pregnant by a man that you claim is you pregnant by? You go and take off 800 miles away. You go to Tampa. You down there. You done left me up here high and dry. You're not worried about me. I'm calling. I'm trying to maintain a long distance relationship. I'm not there doing the pregnancy of this child. I mean the labor of this child. But even still, when she came back for her birthday, I took her out.
Gibbies' sister Raven comes in with some strong opinions. She says Phillips leaving during pregnancy looks suspicious. If it was really my brother's baby, why ghost the whole family? Plus, she says both of them cheated, so who even knows whose baby it is? And finally, it's DNA test time. The moment of truth is here.
First of all, it's just too much between the both of them, back and forth. This has been going on for years. And when my brother first told me that she was pregnant and that she did have a child, I thought it was strange that she left and went to Tampa, keeping it away from him, but you're keeping it away from the rest of his family too. Because if it is his daughter, then she's our family too.
You are her father.
That's it.
This part was wild. A man on his deathbed swearing a kid isn't his? Ms. Richardson asked her husband if he wanted to see the child, and he flat out said no. He kept denying it until his last breath, leaving everyone convinced he wasn't the dad.
Your Honor,
At my husband's deathbed, I had asked him, did he want to see his child? He said, that's not my child. So he kept telling me all the way until he took his last breath that she was not his child.
And you feel like at that point, if he did feel it was a possibility it was his child, he would have told you?
Yes, Your Honor.
How do you not know a man is married when his whole family does? Ms. Russell says she had no clue until his mom told her after he had already proposed. She swears she was only with him, but things were about to get way messier.
I wasn't told about a wife until I was with the mom one day, and I told her that he had asked me to marry him in a text. She said, I don't know how he gonna ask you to marry him when he already married. He told me that they were separated and that he was waiting on her to pay for a divorce because he couldn't do it.
Lisa.
But that's not what he told me.
And my daughter-in-law, and that's that.
Imagine grieving your husband and finding out he had a secret kid. Ms. Richardson got a letter from her mother-in-law spilling all the tea. She found out about the other woman, the baby, and got sent a picture of the child all at once.
I found out from my mother-in-law. She wrote me a letter and we talked over the phone, and she told me that he had a girlfriend, and she also told me that he had a baby. She sent me a picture of the child. I don't even know what to say really about this because I'm very devastated, I'm upset, I'm over my loss of my husband. I was there when he took his last breath.
She was there the whole time.
The whole thing.
She thought the doctors were playing a prank on her. Ms. Russell went to the hospital for feeling sick, and they told her she was 4 months pregnant. She literally laughed because it was the day before April Fool's, but the joke was on her.
I got up to go to the bathroom one day and I could barely move. I called my mom and asked her to take me to the hospital. My aunt ended up taking me. I get to the hospital, they're like, just so we suspect that you pregnant. I start laughing. I thought it was a joke. I'm like, this is the day before April Fool's Day. Why are you playing? I was 4 months and 3 days. I hadn't been with nobody since October.
And then after that time, you ended the relationship.
I left him June 28th.
If you thought he'd be happy, think again. He tried to pay someone to convince her to take an abortion pill. Instead of stepping up, he acted like the baby was a problem to get rid of. Ms. Russell refused and left him while she was 5 months pregnant.
Was he accepting the child? Was he saying?
No, he told me he didn't want the baby. He tried to pay the neighbor to get me to take some type of pill to get me to have an abortion. So I just decided I wasn't gonna do it, and when I had the money, I was gonna leave.
His own niece came in with receipts. He already told her he didn't think the baby was his. While he was away, he admitted he was seeing other women and doubted Eliza was his. And just when you thought this was the proof they needed, another twist came in.
He was down south while his wife was away, and the first thing he said was, niece, I don't think that this baby is mine. I even have somebody else who's coming to visit me while I'm here. So she was never in the picture until the fact that she had the child. Never spoke about her until the fact that he said that there was a possible chance that her daughter, Eliza, was his.
A DNA test was already done before, but it gave no real answer. Ms. Hill, Mr. Richardson's mom, took a test with the child, but it came back inconclusive. This only made them more sure the baby wasn't his.
So you've taken a DNA test prior? You did?
Yes, inconclusive. After my son had passed away, there was a letter came through the mail. It said for child support. I opened it up because my son is dead. So what is this all about? They said, well, ma'am, since he dead, we need a DNA test did on you. When the paperwork came back, it was inconclusive.
Boom.
It has been determined by this court. Ms. Hill and Mr. Richardson Sr. are related to Eliza Richardson.
Thank you, Your Honor.
That's all we want.
That's all we want.
Right away, things get wild. Mr. Green says Mrs. Green cheated all the time, so he's not sure Keegan is even his kid. Mrs. Green says, no, you cheated first.
You claim that the defendant repeatedly cheated on you during your marriage with both men and women. You state you have every reason to doubt that you are 1-year-old Keegan's biological father because of Mrs. Green's sexual track record. And you've petitioned the court for a paternity test. Mrs. Green, you say Mr. Green wasn't ready to be married and that he was the promiscuous one.
Mr. Green says she'd disappear for hours with weird excuses. One time, she said she was going to Burger King, but came back 3 hours later. Bro, what were you doing? Grilling the burgers yourself?
I mean, she used to leave me in the house like for numerous amounts of time. Like she'd tell me she going to the store for like an hour. She'd be gone for like 2 or 3 hours. Like she just been to her girlfriend's house. To her girlfriend's house can mean really her boyfriend's house or both. I don't think Burger King at 10 o'clock at night is crowded until like 1 in the morning. So this is what made me like not want to be with her. And then when I did leave, the first time I did leave, I was going to see my other child.
Mr. Green found a random condom wrapper on the floor and freaked out. Mrs. Green Green says he was in Atlanta probably making another baby. Now they're just yelling, "You cheated! No, you cheated!"
I found the condom wrapper on the floor. Like one time I came home out of town or whatever, I came, it was a condom wrapper on the floor.
How long were you out of town for? Where were you at when you were out of town?
I was in Atlanta.
Right, in Atlanta, right.
Yeah, I was in Atlanta.
With who?
With my son's moms. But we wasn't together.
So what are you talking about then?
But still, you found the condom wrapper on the floor, you smutty.
Mrs. Green said she got pregnant right after Mr. Green got back from Atlanta. He's like, how do I know that baby's mine? Their timelines don't match, and the math is not mathing.
He comes back and then you're pregnant. You tell him you're pregnant.
He was back for like a month before I found out I was pregnant. I had not been with anyone during the time that this child was conceived besides
Oh, really?
him.
Somebody wasn't calling your phone?
So you get pregnant through the phone. Anyway, like I said, I hadn't been with anyone during the time that this child was conceived besides him.
Mr. Green's friend says people know Mrs. Green's name for the wrong reasons. Judge Lake is like, gossip isn't proof, dude. Basically, his testimony was just one big rumor sandwich.
Basically, she turned up. They both turned up.
I believe I want you to explain to me in respectful language, if possible, what turned up means. Enlighten me.
No holds barred. Everything is a go, basically.
Sexually.
Everything is a go, yes.
Understood. Multiple partners.
Vegas in the bedroom.
Mrs. Green's friend says Mr. Green left right after the wedding. She says both of them need to stop fighting and be parents. Finally, someone with some sense.
Me and Whitney have been friends for a very long time. When, not too long after they got married, probably about 2, 3, maybe 4 days after they got married, she called me crying and she was like, my husband left. This is 4 days after you get married. When you get married so you don't have to chase people. You've been chasing and running from the beginning.
Mrs. Green cries and says she loved him, but never felt respected. She's just tired of all the drama. Before she can move on, she needs the truth about Keegan.
I've been through so much with him that isn't relevant to this case and relevant to what's going on right now. When I married this man, he had a child on the way. But I loved him and I wanted to be with him. I had to deal with him going back and forth. And he already had a child too. Like I said, I loved him, so I married him regardless. But I never feel like I was truly ever respected as his wife from day one.
Judge Lake reads the results.
As it relates to 1-year-old Keegan Green, Mr. Green, you are the father.
Now turn up to that. Turn up now.
Whoa, this one starts off super crazy. Mr. Smith left town because he thought the baby wasn't his. Melody's yelling, he's denying, and now they're in court like it's an episode of a soap opera.
Ms. Melody, you and the defendant are separated and living in different states because he says he's not the father of your 9-month-old baby, Savannah. Mr. Smith, you say the plaintiff's continuous lies and infidelities are proof that you are not the father of her daughter and you refuse to move back in.
Mr. Smith said the baby was way too dark to be his, like he thinks babies come out with ID photos. Melody said it was bruising from being born early. He still packed his stuff and said, I'm out.
No. I moved hundreds of miles away because when my baby was born, she came out 5 shades too dark compared to me. I mean, we're both very...
She was 2 months early.
No, we're both very white.
2 months early. I wasn't fully dilated when she came out. She was bruised. He hasn't even seen our kids in a month. He's been gone for months.
No,
he doesn't call, he doesn't help. I'm doing it all by myself.
This man found Craigslist messages and went full detective mode. He even called the guy like, you messing with my girl? Melody says, nah, she was just selling cars.
Okay, Your Honor, I was going through her phone like normal. I believe normal married couples do. They check up on each other's stuff. I mean, I do. But only because there was a history of infidelity.
We're doing a little investigation, going through her phone.
Looking, and I see that she's talking to some guy. So what do? I pick up my cell phone, I call him, and I say, hey, who is this? That's when he tells me, oh, I had an ad on Craigslist looking for a girlfriend.
Melody admits she planned drinks with the Craigslist dude, but says it didn't happen. The judge side-eyed her hard. Mr. Smith looked like he just won a game show.
We were supposed to go out for drinks. We were supposed to meet up. We never actually did.
That's why we're here. You don't come all the way to paternity court to come up in here and tell a lie, because at the end of the day, the DNA is going to show whether you're lying or not. It's an opportunity to just get it out. Tell it like it is.
Mr. Smith showed baby pics like it was a school project. He said the baby didn't look like him and brought up Melody's past boyfriends. Judge Lake was trying hard not to roll her eyes.
Well, she has a history of dating African-American men, Hispanic men, and that's really why when my baby was born, I thought that she's not mine. I mean, you can see here in the pictures, Your Honor, that I...
You feel like the coloring in her forehead indicates that she's African-American, or do you feel like her skin tone, you feel like is a dark tone?
Her overall skin tone
Her skin tone.
This guy paid $100 to Melody's ex for old nudes, and the ex just sent the same ones Melody already sent. He paid for a rerun.
She actually sent between 5 and 7 nude pictures of herself to an ex. I went through her phone and I seen she was talking
We weren't
to him.
together.
I called this guy off my phone and he didn't want to talk to me at all. And you know what, I'm at a point in the relationship where I'm like, you know what, I really want to know what's going on. So I sent him $100 cash for him to tell me, just tell me what's going on with you and my girlfriend.
Mr. Smith says Melody's ex came to town right when the baby was made. He thinks that proves it all. Melody's like, I didn't even see him.
And I just recently found out that right around the time that she sent those pictures to him was when he actually came into town, right around the time she got pregnant.
I haven't seen him in over 2 years.
Are there any other instances that make you doubt?
No, he's just very jealous. He comes up with stuff. I applied for jobs on Craigslist. I went and applied for a job for cleaning.
Smith skipped the baby's birth because he had doubts. Melody was heartbroken, raising babies while he vanished. The court looked ready to explode.
Because there's so much infidelity on her part that, I mean, I'm still young. I've been courting her and the kids for years now.
No.
And for her to just disrespect me like that, go off cheating
I've never
everybody
cheated
that
on
she
him.
wants to.
He's the only one who's ever cheated in our relationship. I've been faithful. Yeah, I talked to somebody. Now we're not together. Now I'm raising my kids on my own. We're married. We're supposed to be together.
Mr. Smith, you are Savannah's father.
No.
Well, when I told him that I was pregnant, he kind of like was shocked a little bit. Then he was like, "She gonna be my 13th daughter. Like, how can I take care of all of them?"
His what child?
13th kid.
I told her I had 8. When I came back into town, I knock on the door, and the door opened. I see my pajamas. Mr. Ray has on the pajama top.
That is not true to me.
The gentleman has on the pajama bottom.
Your pajamas?
My pajamas. I didn't create no drama. I didn't fight. I didn't do anything. I turned around, I tell my cousin, I said, come on, let's go.
Things kick off wild, setting the stage for chaos. Ms. Toure accuses Mr. Lacey of being an absent dad to their grown son, Trevon. She's determined to prove he's the father and end his excuses. The judge braces for a messy showdown. Buckle up, the drama is just getting started.
Ms. Toure, you are in court to prove to your ex-boyfriend, Mr. Lacey, that he is the biological father of your adult son, Trevon Lacey. You state that the defendant has been an absentee father, full of excuses, and you want it all to end today in court with the truth.
Yes, Your Honor.
And here comes the birth certificate bombshell. Ms. Toure flashes it like proof of gold, showing Mr. Lacey's name as the dad. He denies signing it, claiming he was in jail when Trevon was born. The he said, she said clash gets intense, with receipts flying everywhere. Don't blink, it's heating up fast.
Your Honor, I could not have signed the birth certificate. I was not, I was incarcerated at the time Trayvon was born.
So this birth certificate, child's name, Trevon Lacey's father's name, Larry Lacey, but it's typed in. Was he present at the birth?
He was not present, no.
You basically just gave them his name.
I gave him his name because...
And they typed it in.
Yes.
Money enters the mix, and things get messier. Mr. Lacey's been paying child support for years, reducing his debt to $5,000. He admits inconsistency, but insists he never agreed he was the dad. Paying bills while doubting paternity, the plot thickens with every twist.
You owe $37,200 and some odd dollars in child support, which you have...
Knocked it down to $5,000.
You've got about $5,800.
You know, sometimes during them years I was unemployed. As soon as I find employment again, then, you know, my wages start being garnished.
But you've managed to pay that $37,000 down to almost $5,000.
Yes, ma'am.
Just when it couldn't get crazier, Ms. Toure drops a double life bomb. She claims Mr. Lacey vanished after she got pregnant, living with another woman nearby. Meanwhile, she faced the fallout alone. The revelations make this a reality TV-worthy saga.
My first time I had sex with Mr. Lacey, he got me pregnant, but I didn't know it at the time. So Mr. Lacey told me he left and went out of town. He disappeared. I don't know where he went, but later on down the road, as time revealed, he was living a double life. It was another woman in the neighborhood that he had left me for. So at that time, I thought, you know, it was over.
Here comes the soap opera twist. Pajama drama. Mr. Lacey tells a wild tale of coming home to another man in his pajama bottoms and Ms. Toure in the matching top. She fires back, denying it. The visual is hilarious, but the tension is real. The drama's far from over.
When I came back into town, I knock on the door, and the door opened. I see my pajamas. Mr. Ray has on the pajama top.
That is not true to me.
The gentleman has on the pajama pajama bottom. I didn't argue, I didn't fuss. I turned around, I tell my cousin, I said, come on, let's go. So we left.
So do you remember this incident with the pajamas, Mr. Ray?
He is straight lying, I'm telling you, Your Honor.
Enter Trayvon, and the mood shifts. He opens up about growing up without a dad, feeling lost, and leaning on his mom who raised 3 kids solo. His heartfelt words tug at everyone's emotions. But a revelation is coming that'll flip his world.
Larry, I believe, growing up with my mom, there's a lot of things that I wish we could have been there with, as far as her having to be my father as well as my mother. I feel like if you were there, it was a lot of, heartache and headaches, which I believe are your grandchildren. They have a right to know who their grandfather is.
True.
I want to let you know that. I'm just ready to get these results so we can move forward in our lives.
The truth finally cracks open. Ms. Toure admits there was another potential dad. Trayvon is stunned, his world shaken. This confession shifts everything, leaving the courtroom in disbelief, but there's still more to come.
Mom, do you know where this other man is?
I have no idea where he is, but he's aware that I was pregnant and Larry came back and all that. He's given me pictures, just in case this situation came out where the DNA say he is the father, he would be interested in getting back into my son's life.
You didn't know any of that was going on, did you?
No, ma'am.
And I'm sorry for that, son. I should have told you.
The moment of truth arrives with the DNA results.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Lacey, you are the father.
Thank you, Your Honor. I told you. I told you. Now stand up, give my son his respect.
Mr. Slaughter skips court and drama sparks immediately. He claims he met Ms. Johnson years ago, lost touch, and only found out he might be a dad 2 years back. His response? That kid doesn't look like me. Why now? Hold tight, it's about to get messier.
Well, Ms. Johnson told me possibly about 2 years ago that I might be a possible father for Mr. Johnson. And my first reaction to that situation was like, I don't think so. He doesn't look anything like me. And why would you wait till he's a grown man to tell me that I might be a possible father when all this time you've known me and we've been friends and it never came up before?
Cue the soap opera vibes. Ms. Johnson confesses to calling every guy she'd been with, unsure of Damien's dad. Damien's frustrated, just wanting answers. The paternity puzzle deepens and the tension skyrockets.
So your testimony is at the point you realized that man number 2 was not Damien's biological father, you basically started calling everybody you admittedly were sleeping with multiple men. You said you were fast, telling everybody I was having sex with, you could potentially be my son's biological father.
Yes, because we didn't end up following through with it back then, and that's why we're here today.
For a second, things seem sweet. Mr. Slaughter says he'll step up if he's the dad. Damien's interested but unsure. Just as clarity feels close, the drama escalates again.
If you're proven to be Mr. Johnson's father, what are your hopes for the future?
If I am proven to be Mr. Johnson's father, I'm gonna definitely, be a good role model, a mentor, do all the type of stuff that a dad is supposed to do for a up-and-coming young man. I know it's very important for a young man to have a father in his life, and it's never too late.
Tissues ready? Ms. Johnson gets emotional praising Damien, with even Judge Lake chiming in. Everyone's feeling warm and fuzzy until, bam, another possible dad enters the scene.
Is there anything you want to say to your son? He is such an amazing young man.
He is. And I love him so much.
I love you too, Mom.
He excels at everything he does. He's amazing. People are missing out, and it's not fair at all to any of them. I feel in my heart that he's Damien's, the only one to carry on his name.
The plot thickens. There's now a 6th potential dad, Mr. Harmon, who admits to casual history with Ms. Johnson. He steps up to share his story, and awkwardness ensues.
We have 5 potential fathers.
There's another one.
So that is potential father number 6.
Yes.
And who is this man?
Mr. Harmon. There wasn't one. We hung out a couple times and had a couple sexual encounters, and that was it.
Chaos continues. Mr. Harmon only learned 4 weeks ago he might be Damien's dad. He's shocked but willing to cooperate. As suspicions grow, the moment of truth inches closer.
When is the first time you heard Damien could potentially be your biological son?
4 weeks ago.
Ms. Johnson reached out to you?
Well, we're friends. We're still friends.
Oh, wow. But you never knew
No.
he could potentially be your biological son?
No, I didn't. I have other kids, but I don't think that he's mine.
Grab more tissues. Damien shares how growing up without a dad made him feel left out. Judge Lake gives him an empowering pep talk, but the suspense over his father's identity is unbearable.
I feel like I'm not as good as everybody else because they all got dads.
Oh.
Don't ever feel
Just
like
break
that.
my heart. Don't you ever feel like that. You are worth it. You are just as good. That's why we're here for you, because you are important
today or not, you still are worth it.
The results drop. Mr. Harmon and Mr. Slaughter are not the father. It's a roller coaster of dashed hopes, and the search continues with no end in sight.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Harmon, you are not the father. These results pertain to Mr. Slaughter. It has been determined by this court. Mr. Slaughter is not the father.
Mr. Henley is also ruled out, Ms. Johnson is convinced it's Mr. Ellerson, and a DNA test with his mom is next. The suspense is suffocating.
22-year-old Damian Johnson. It has been determined by this court. Mr. Henley, you are not the father.
Heartbreak hits hard.
It has been determined by this court. The percentage of relatedness between Miss Lethea Murray and Damian Johnson is 0.00%. You are not related.
This story is a roller coaster from the start. The judge kicks off Curtis versus Buckley, with Miss Curtis claiming Mr. Buckley is her son Xavier's father. Mr. Buckley denies it, accusing Miss Curtis of cheating, and the drama begins.
Miss Curtis, you say this court date is extremely important to you. You're here to prove to your ex-fiance, Mr. Buckley, that he fathered your 22-month-old son Xavier, because his denial has left you homeless and in need of help.
Yes, Your Honor.
Miss Curtis says Mr. Buckley's actions left her and her baby in a homeless shelter. She shares tearful details of life as resident 1625. Mr. Buckley tries to defend himself, but the tension is rising.
With him being in and out of our life and kicking us, not only me, but his son out of his apartment, we landed in a homeless shelter. I was known as resident 1625, sleeping in a twin-sized bed with my son.
That's not true.
Sharing
did not kick her out.
Everything with other residents in the homeless shelter.
You say he kicked you out, Miss Curtis?
He went to his landlord.
Mr. Buckley claims he can't have kids, citing failed relationships and a fertility specialist. Miss Curtis fires back, saying, "It only takes one fast swimmer." The courtroom turns into a battle of science and emotions.
Your Honor, I don't think I can have kids for multiple reasons.
It only takes one fast swimmer.
I was in a relationship before, and we tried to conceive a child. We went to fertility specialists, and we were on medicine and kept up with ovulation dates and the whole nine. And as soon as we separated, she ended up having 2 other children.
Miss Curtis recalls her 13-hour labor and emergency C-section with Mr. Buckley by her side. She says seeing him crying in the nursery made her fall in love again. But Mr. Buckley's doubts linger.
I was in labor for 13 and a half hours. Mr. Buckley was with me for the whole 13 and a half hours. I have pictures of him at the hospital. I ended up having to have an emergency C-section because little Xavier's oxygen level dropped and he was in distress. And when I woke up and they wheeled me by the nursery to see him, Mr. Buckley was standing there with tears running down his face. That was the moment that I fell in love with Mr. Buckley.
A witness claims Miss Curtis's house had frequent male visitors, complete with a diagram of her view. Miss Curtis insists they were friends and says one was learning English. The drama escalates.
She done came and confided in me and told me about the other guys.
What exactly could you see from your door to hers?
I could see men coming out of this door and her
How?
running
When
up
I don't
there,
even use that door.
and her running up to the Africans up at the other apartments up top.
The Africans I was teaching English to because he came from Africa and didn't speak English. He didn't speak English.
He spoke English to me.
Child support becomes the next battleground. Miss Curtis accuses Mr. Buckley of quitting his job to avoid payments, but he says he's back at work and signed the birth certificate out of love.
Are you currently paying child support?
No, he quit his job so he wouldn't have to.
I'm working right now. I'm missing out on work right now. I just started back.
Father's name, Xavier Buckley.
Yes, Your Honor.
That's you.
Correct.
You signed it voluntarily.
Yes, Your Honor.
And is there a child support order?
Yes, Your Honor.
He was supposed to pay $216 a month, and then when he quit his job, they dropped it down to $80 a month.
The DNA results reveal
it has been determined by this court, Mr. Buckley, you are not his father.
Oh, baby.
Oh boy, things kick off wild. Ms. Short and her mom storm in, accusing Mr. Johnson of denying he's the dad of baby Jabari. She's juggling school and parenting and wants him to step up, while Mr. Johnson's like, let's see the DNA first. Trust me, it only gets crazier from here.
Ms. Short, you and your mother opened your case today because your first love, the defendant, denies he fathered your 21-month-old son Jabari. You are a single teenage mother who needs help and you demand Mr. Johnson step up and be a father.
This part's emotional, but a roller coaster. Ms. Short shares how tough it is being a single mom and needing a father figure for Jabari. Her mom chimes in, wanting the truth, but instead of answers, things get way messier.
And my son, as a boy, need a father figure. And I need extra help, like while I'm in school.
She just need to know, is he the father? So he can step up and do the right thing, hopefully. You know, we can't make him, but we need to know, because I did stop him from coming over because I didn't want no feelings to get involved.
It's pure soap opera. They met on Facebook, fell in love, and he was her first everything. Then drama strikes. She caught him with another girl, moved on quickly, and slept with both guys within days. Now the timeline's a math problem.
It was on Facebook. We used to text. He was my first kiss, first everything. Me and Mr. Johnson had sex April 23rd. I seen him on Facebook with another female, and I was like, he just left me. After that happened, it was May 3rd. I went out to eat with some friends, met the other boy, and this is not my first time meeting him, but this is the first time we ever had sex.
Now it's Mr. Johnson's turn to spill tea. He didn't know about the pregnancy until 6 months in and was ready to step up. But rumors of another guy shook his confidence, and he's questioning everything.
I was away. I found out she was pregnant 6 months into her pregnancy. She told my mom and dad she was pregnant and I could be the father. So at the time, I'm thinking that the baby's mine. At the end of the day, when I come home from being away, I got her friends coming to me, talking to me about the other dude. I was there. When she called me and asked me for stuff, I was there to help her.
Ms. Short says her pregnancy timeline matches her time with Mr. Johnson, but admits another guy was in the picture. It feels like a real-life Who's the Daddy with high stakes and real tears.
My due date was January 14th. I had sex with Mr. Johnson April 23rd. And May 3rd, it's just too close.
You reached out to them as well to say that it is a possibility that he could be the biological father. You also know that Mr. Johnson is a very real possibility because of the proximity of the time you had sex with Mr. Johnson and the time you had sex with the other guy.
Mr. Johnson wrote a heartfelt letter promising to be a great dad if the baby was his. But when he heard about the other guy, doubts crept in. It's sweet for a moment until the looming DNA results remind you of the chaos.
He writes, I'll be there for you and my child. I love all mine. That one thing you ain't got to worry about. I'm going to be a great father to my children. So he wrote that letter and promised you in that moment that he was going to be a good father to his child and believed, it seems, that it was his child.
Judge Lake goes all in, asking, what were you thinking? She reminds them parenting isn't a joke and drops truth bombs left and right. Then she tees up the moment we've all been waiting for, the results.
And what is troubling me in this moment, I have done my best to be patient. I have been frustrated. And now you've gotten yourself into this whole big drama about the situation, much less be prepared to take care of a living child, this beautiful little boy, and this is babies having babies, and this has got to stop.
The room goes silent as the DNA results come in. Bam!
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Johnson, you are the father.
This case kicks off with a bang, and you're gonna be glued to it. Judge Lake starts the case of Mackenzie Vieser's Guy, where Ms. Mackenzie accuses Mr. Guy of running off after their baby was born, because apparently he already has a small village of kids. Mr. Guy denies it all, saying he never believed he was the dad. Things are about to get awkward, fast.
Ms. Mackenzie, you say Mr. Guy abandoned you and your daughter, Anaya, soon after she was born, and denies he's her father only because he already has too many kids. Mr. Guy, you say you knew this wasn't your child from the moment Ms. Mackenzie said she was pregnant.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, this is wild. Mr. Guy basically says, I've got enough kids, no thanks. Ms. Mackenzie shares that when she told him about the baby, he claimed it'd be his 13th kid, but now he's backpedaling, saying, nah, it's only 8. Either way, the math isn't mathing, and it's getting spicy.
Well, when I told him that I was pregnant, he kind of was shocked a little bit. Then he was like, she gonna be my 13th daughter. How can I take care of all of them?
His what child?
13th kid.
I told her I had 8.
And then it was they kept popping up. I even went to school
that
with
was
one
the
of his
other
kids.
dude.
No.
You went to school with some of his kids?
His kids. We was in college together.
This next part is bananas. Ms. Mackenzie says that after they left the hospital, Mr. Guy dropped the baby on the floor in her car seat, said he had to run an errand, and never came back. Imagine coming home with a newborn and being ghosted like this, and you won't believe what else she says next.
After I had her, he was at the hospital and everything. When he brought us home, he just basically set her on the floor in her car seat. He was like, I gotta go run an errand. And he never came back, so he just left her there. He just left us there for months.
So you're there just caring for this child?
Caring for her.
Are you calling him?
Yes, I called him I called him so many times. Like, he even, like, at one point just stopped answering my phone calls. Like,
oh, here comes his excuse, and it's a doozy. Mr. Guy admits to ignoring Ms. Mackenzie's calls, saying she was harassing him about the baby. Even though he admits they were together, he's convinced the kid isn't his because of what he calls her lying ways. The blame game is just getting started.
Mr. Guy, have you been avoiding her calls all that time?
Yes, Your Honor.
Why?
She was harassing me.
Harassing you about what?
Baby this, baby that.
Because
I'm
she's
like,
your baby.
That ain't my baby, you know.
Were you sleeping with her?
I was sleeping
Were
with
you
her.
using protection?
No, Your Honor.
So how do you think you're excluded from possibility?
Like when the baby was born, I was at the hospital, looked at the baby, I said, this ain't my baby.
Here's where it gets messy, like soap opera messy. Mr. Guy accuses Ms. Mackenzie of cheating, saying he saw men lurking around her place. She claps back, saying they were just friends giving her rides. If you think this is bad, wait until you hear what he says next.
Because the instances that I catch her telling lies. Like one time, me and my brother pulled up. She was sitting in the car with somebody, and they was there for a while because we was sitting up there watching them.
What were they doing in the car?
I thought they was having sex.
Really?
that night that he's talking about, I called him and he told me to come over to his house. When I got there, he was not there.
Enter Ms. Mackenzie's mom, and she's not holding back. She says Mr. Guy wasn't just a deadbeat. He was out clubbing while ignoring his kid. She even claims he'd disappear for days at a time. If you thought it couldn't get worse for him, buckle up, it's about to.
I'm really upset at Mr. Guy because he denying my granddaughter. She really don't even know who he is. And I did live with them for a while, and he goes to the club. He might not even come in for 2 or 3 days.
He says I stress him because I feel like if we're adults and we live together, we're trying to build a family, you should be doing your part as much as I'm doing my part. If we're a unit, we're a unit.
This part is a little ridiculous. Mr. Guy literally brings a school schedule as evidence. He's convinced Ms. Mackenzie wasn't taking classes because the schedule ends at 5 p.m., but she'd come home at midnight. Ms. Mackenzie fires back, explaining her packed days with school, work, and raising her kid. But let's be real, this Exhibit A feels more like Exhibit LOL.
As you see right here, Your Honor, 7:45, this is the actual schedule they be having. 7:45 a.m., that's when classes begin. And 4:55 p.m., that's when classes end, the last class.
And you say she didn't get home till midnight?
She didn't get home till midnight.
So where are you? Class don't last that long.
I have no idea.
And now for the I didn't sign it plot twist. Mr. Guy denies ever signing Ania's birth certificate, but Ms. Mackenzie insists he was there during the birth, holding her hand and signing the papers. The court produces evidence with his name and signature. It's about to get real as we head toward the truth.
Do you remember them having you sign an affidavit or an acknowledgement of paternity?
No.
Just somehow your name got up on that birth certificate?
He held my hand through birth.
I'm just
He
saying
said
where
he was
the
the only person
signature
there.
at.
He was the only person there when I had my daughter. He held my hand during birth.
And then just dropped you off at the house?
Like we was nothing.
Why did you even come to the hospital? If it wasn't your child, why even show?
Because he was at my house.
This is it, the big moment.
It has been determined by this court. Guy, you are her father.
This case is a wild soap opera in the making. Judge Lake introduces the Eggleston twins, who claim their dad, Rodney Eggleston, isn't their biological father. They're here for a DNA test, suspecting Rodney's claim is just a cover for financial issues. Drama and secrets abound, with no end to the twists.
You and your identical twin sister state that the man who raised you recently shocked you when he announced that he is not your biological father. You've petitioned the court for a paternity test because you believe finances are motivating your alleged father's claims. That you know for sure that the plaintiff's father is a white man and you are not their biological dad.
Imagine your dad loudly announcing you're not his kids at a family party. That's exactly what happened to the twins. Overhearing Rodney say, "Y'all know they're not mine," in front of everyone. They dismissed it as drunken talk until it turned into a courtroom showdown.
Well, it all started about a year ago at his birthday party. And we overheard him speaking to some of our family members saying, "Y'all know these not my kids." That's what he was saying. We heard him. Now we was listening, saying to our family members, "Y'all know they're not my kids. I'm down here raising." That's what he was explaining to the rest of our family members. But our family members didn't say anything back. Yeah, nobody said anything. It was just drama. I'm thinking he's just speaking under the influence of alcohol.
Things get messier when Rodney recalls doubting their mom after overhearing her ask another man for money during her pregnancy. Despite the red flags, he signed the birth certificates and raised them. If you think Rodney's conflicted, just wait. It only gets wilder.
I was coming home one day and she was in the backyard barbecuing, and I noticed this big, beautiful smile. Made a date, you know. Eventually we got together, and next thing you know, I'm living in her mama's basement, and not too soon after that, she's on the phone calling some guy out, telling him to send money. You know, I'm pregnant, and she's looking at me going like this.
The twins describe a rough upbringing. with no structure and a coach stepping in to buy their school supplies. Rodney defends himself as a struggling single parent, but the twins paint a picture of neglect. This isn't just about money, there's emotional baggage too.
You know, because my mom, she's gone. So even if whatever the DNA test shows, we don't even have her side, you know?
When did you lose your mom?
When we were 8 years old, in front of us, you know, away from our family, away from, you know, everything that we knew.
When your mom passed away, he did take you in.
Yes, and he took it. Later.
Rodney claims their pale skin and a rare condition suggest a white man is their real dad. The twins clap back, saying their research disproves his theory. A witness adds fuel, mentioning their mom's relationship with a white man, turning the drama into a full-blown circus.
And you know that a white man is their father.
When we went to a doctor, she got marks on her back, and the doctor questioned skin.
Okay.
And they questioned. First thing she come out, the doctor, Dad, are you sure y'all got the wrong babies? You know, you didn't get the wrong babies? I said, okay, here we go again. You know, so I'm not the biological dad, okay.
Grandma Eggleston delivers a scathing video message, blaming Rodney for doubting the twins after raising them. Her words hit hard, and the twins share their pain over their mom's absence. Just when you think it can't get more emotional, the biggest twist is revealed.
Rodney said he's not the father. After 18 years, he should have said this from the very beginning when the first month when Sophia died. That's what he should have said when the twins were born. And I don't want Rodney to tell me ever again that he's not the father.
And that's true.
The twins express their desire for Rodney to be their dad. Despite everything, they discovered his secret journal, revealing years of doubt and pain. As DNA results loom, everyone hopes for closure, but tension runs high.
What you want going forward?
You know, I have always had that daddy's little girl mentality. Yeah. You know, coming from my point of view, I want him to be the dad, you know, because, you know, I'm always gonna cover from him, you know, but at the same time.
And that's the thing, has that over her.
Yeah.
Mr. Eggleston, you are their father. Mr. Webb, you are not her father.
Yeah, crazy. You need to go to a mental hospital.
It's not true because me and DeAndre, we were in a relationship. We were high school sweethearts. You know, I was all about him and everything. Everything was good until he started cheating.
So this was your high school sweetheart?
Yes, I lost my virginity to him.
This case is already wild. Ms. Hawthorne calls Mr. Brown a smooth-talking deadbeat, while he's over here saying she's a desperate liar. The courtroom is buzzing with what is even happening vibes. Buckle up, it's going to get messier.
Ms. Hawthorne, you are here today because you say your high school sweetheart, Mr. Brown, is a smooth-talking deadbeat who got you pregnant 3 years ago and is now denying your baby.
It started sweet, but turned into a train wreck. Ms. Hawthorne says Mr. Brown was her high school sweetheart and first love, but then he started cheating. Just when you think it's predictable, there's a sharp left turn.
This baby isn't mine. I desperately believe that she's emotionally attached to me and she desperately wants to have a family with me.
It's not true because me and DeAndre, we were in a relationship. We were high school sweethearts. You know, I was all about him and everything. Everything was good until he started cheating. So I lost my virginity to him.
This drama kicked off with an online high school romance. They chatted for a year before meeting, and now their stories don't even match. The awkwardness is already palpable, and it's only getting started.
We were dating online. That's how we found out about each other.
Oh, so you all met online?
Online after we started seeing each other because we were young, we didn't have transportation.
So you met online, you lived in 2 different places.
Yeah.
And you all were going back and forth.
Yeah.
Until you figured out how to meet up.
Yes.
How long after you met online did you meet up?
A year.
Straight out of a teen drama, Mr. Brown went to break up with her, but ended up in the back seat instead. He's all, it just happened, while Ms. Hawthorne thought it was a reunion. The courtroom's collective what says it all.
We was in the car and we ended up getting into a heated moment and both of us started kissing and ended up having sex in the back seat.
We were talking about getting back together, Your Honor.
You told her this is the last time you're gonna see each other. And you said he was trying to figure out how to fix the relationship.
Yes, that's what we talked about.
So you have sex in the back of this car?
Yes.
Ms. Hawthorne waited a day to tell Mr. Brown about Chase's birth, claiming they weren't on good terms. Judge Lake is like, Dad still deserves to know. Cue the frustration for everyone watching.
When Chase was born, do you notify Mr. Brown?
No. We were not on, like, good speaking terms at the moment.
But this is the father of your child.
Yes.
So speaking terms or not, didn't he deserve to know that the child was about to come into the world?
I notified DeAndre September 24th, so a day right after.
Your Honor, how if the baby is
That don't
born?
make no kind of sense.
Ms. Hawthorne's mom comes in strong, accusing Mr. Brown of neglect. She lists all the ways she supported Chase, while Mr. Brown's been absent. Just when it seems she's said it all, the plot thickens.
Definitely, I believe that he has said it on texts that he has sent, all kinds of proof. He looked just like him. I mean, how can you deny that beautiful baby? I mean, he's gorgeous. To say, no, this is not my child, is ridiculous. And he's never been there for him. I'm one person can say he's never been there because I do everything for him. I buy his food, I get his milk. I am the father.
The texts are the gotcha moment. Mr. Brown's messages about helping and calling Chase my son make him look guilty. He's backpedaling hard, but things are about to escalate.
You write to him and say, I'm afraid that Chase at this point will not have the Christmas he deserves. Make things right with your son because he didn't ask to be born. He will have a good Christmas, no worries. I'll just start checking periodically on what he needs and deliver it to him. I'm trying my best here. You think I'm happy about not being able to get him gifts on Christmas? I'm not. It hurts me.
The big reveal.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Brown, you are not the father.
This starts wild, and you're not ready. Judge Lake introduces Hannon vs. Dorsey. Phelan Hannon's figuring out if David Dorsey is her dad after her mom dropped this bombshell before she passed. This is messy, and trust me, it gets messier.
Miss Hannon, you grew up believing one man was your father until the age of 13 when he said, I am not your daddy.
Yes, ma'am.
Your mother then told you on her deathbed that another man, the defendant David Dorsey, is your biological father.
If you thought your life was dramatic, think again. At 13, Phelan's dad said, not my problem, kid, when she asked him to a daddy-daughter dance. Processing that as a teen? Rough. And it's about to get even crazier.
Well, I believe David Dorsey is my biological father, but I grew up with my grandparents and my mom. Like you said, I was known for a man named Kimball to be my dad. I called him one day for the daddy-daughter dance. Instead of his response being, yes, I'll be there, it was, your mother's still lying to you, not your dad, you need to go find your real dad.
How cruel.
This feels like a movie, but it's real life. On her deathbed, Phelan's mom confessed David Dorsey was her real dad. She admitted she picked the wrong guy. Imagine hearing that before your mom's final moments. David's reaction? Just wait.
My mom, we would have our heart-to-hearts, you know, when she got sick, because she was sick my whole entire life. She would talk about David. On her deathbed, she told me, I thought I picked the right one for you, but David's your father.
So just before your mother passed, she says to you, I thought I picked the right one for you, but David Dorsey is really your biological father.
Yes, ma'am.
Strangers kept mistaking Phelan for Melanie Dorsey, David's daughter. People even called her by that name. Despite the hints, she'd never met David or Melanie until now. Their first meeting, not what you'd expect.
After my mom's passing, I moved away. My grandmother got sick, so I came back. I was actually at work, walking down the hall. She was calling me Melanie, walking down the hall. Melanie, do you hear me talking to you? She got all the way close, and I'm like, ma'am, that's not my name. Melanie, but you're talking about Melanie Dorsey, right? And she's like, yeah. I said, I heard it in high school. I look just like a girl. I need to meet her. It's my sister. We need to find out. And the friend that said it, you know, he approached my mom.
David walks in and says, don't know you or your mom. The audience is shook. The judge isn't buying it, and Phelan's got receipts. It's like a soap opera, and she's just getting started.
She's been told that you are her biological father.
Yes, ma'am.
You walked through the doors, you walked right past her, no hug. You didn't even really look at her, acknowledge her.
I acknowledged her. I looked at her.
You don't believe you're her biological father?
Not really, because I don't remember her mother at all.
You don't know her mother?
No.
David's denial is relentless, but Phelan's godmother spills all the tea. She saw David with Phelan's mom back in the day. David denies everything, but the tension is real. Then his daughter enters the scene.
Me and Phelan's mother, Veronica, we work together. Mr. Dorsey, I have seen him come to the job to bring her mom, her baby daddy being David. He still looks the same, but he had just got a little heavier.
Your Honor.
You don't remember any of this?
Your Honor, I've never had sex with this woman.
You worked at the fast food restaurant, though.
Yes, ma'am.
Melody, David's daughter, comes in strong, claiming Phelan as her sister. She's heard the rumors, sees the resemblance, and calls out her dad. It's funny, emotional, and awkward all at once.
You know we are here discussing the paternity as it relates to Ms. Hannon.
Yes, I'm here to claim my sister. That's my sister. I don't mean to disrespect my dad, but my dad was a Rolling Stone. He was the man, and like he was very known on the North Side for being David Watkins, you know, the slayer of women. So,
Phelan's trying to stay strong, but she just wants closure. David's still in denial, but feels bad for her. The judge is ready for the DNA results, and you'll need to brace yourself for the twist.
Truly, Mr. Dorsey, I can't get much testimony out of you because you honestly don't remember.
No, I don't.
And Miss Hannon have formed as sisters, you believing and accepting and loving her as a sister.
I don't know about her mother's infidelity. Only thing I know is that Fallon is my sister.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Dorsey, you are not the father.
The case of Webb versus. Cole kicks off with Judge Lake, trying to figure out if Mr. Webb is the dad of Ms. Cole's 6-month-old daughter, Majestic. Mr. Webb swears up and down that he's never even been intimate with Ms. Cole. Meanwhile, Ms. Cole is super confident he's the dad and accuses him of lying to protect his relationship.
Mr. Webb, you and your girlfriend say there's no chance whatsoever that you fathered the defendant's 6-month-old daughter, Majestic. You say your evidence will shock this courtroom. Cole, you and your mother say you're 100% certain that Mr. Webb is your child's biological father and say the only reason he's denying your baby is to save his relationship with the woman he's been with past 3 years.
Ms. Cole says she got pregnant with Majestic on April 11th after sleeping with Mr. Webb, but Mr. Webb fires back, saying they've never been intimate and calling her a liar. The courtroom gets loud as Ms. Cole doubles down and Mr. Webb calls her crazy.
I know for a fact the dates line up, and I know he stayed with me for 2 months, and he slept in my bed with me for 1 night, and we had sex. April 11th.
We never had sex or anything. We were just friends. We would chill out. That was it. I never stayed in her bedroom. I stayed out on the couch.
That's a lie.
And on top of that, I was only there for a week and a week and a half.
Ms. Cole says Mr. Webb stayed at her house for over a week, and during that time, they were, well, more than just friends. She claims her family took care of him the whole time, but Mr. Webb denies it all, saying he was just crashing on the couch. His girlfriend backs him up, and the courtroom is now a mix of yelling, arguing, and side-eyeing.
I wasn't living there. We were hanging out for a week and a half. Right. And on top of that, April 18th, I had moved back to Detroit. How was I there for 3 months? She had knew about it. We were friends. She trusts me. She knows I'm not like that.
I've known him for 7 years and he is not like that at all. And you called me, and you called me with his friend telling me that he was there for 3 weeks and you guys were having sex and blah, blah, blah. At first I did believe that.
He shows texts from Ms. Cole where she admits there's another guy who could be Majestic's dad. But she also says the timing makes Mr. Webb the most likely choice. Mr. Webb isn't having it though, calling her messages proof that she's unsure and just making stuff up.
This is how this went, the first message. She messaged me saying, hey, I got an ultrasound. I said, okay, can we leave it at that, Tasha? It's not my baby. I'm trying to do right in my life, stay out of my life in the inbox. At this point, I'm thinking, I feel like she's trying to say that I'm the baby daddy, but just hinting, not actually saying it. What came next? I told her, I said, I'm not trying to be mean. I just want this to end. Because I'm not a mean person. I'm not a hateful person.
Ms. Cole shows a calendar with dates marked to prove when she and Mr. Webb were together and when she thinks she got pregnant. But there's one little issue. Her timeline overlaps with another guy she was with. The courtroom is buzzing as people try to figure out if this calendar helps her case or just makes it messier.
In red is the date you were intimate with Mr. Webb on the 11th of April.
Yeah.
The window of conception is in blue.
Yeah.
So that's the week prior to the 11th. And then Majestic was born on the 28th of January, correct?
Yes.
When were you intimate with the other guy?
May 15th, 16th.
How do you get those two mixed up? That's over a month. How are you gonna say that you think it's him and then over a month?
The DNA results are in, and guess what?
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Webb, you are not her father.
Oh! Yeah, you're crazy. You need to go to a mental hospital.
This case starts wild and gets wilder. Judge Lake introduces Capples versus Harris, where Miss Capples claims Mr. Harris is her 15-month-old son, Jason's dad. Mr. Harris, supported by his girlfriend, denies it and says, let me live my life. Buckle up, it's about to get messier.
You say you are 100% certain that the defendant is your 15-month-old son, Jason's biological father, and today he's going to put his name on the dotted line right in front of his girlfriend. You and your girlfriend say there is no way you are Jay's father, and once the results are revealed, you want the plaintiff to leave you alone.
Miss Capples admits they weren't a couple, just hooking up after meeting on Facebook. She even made him her man crush Monday, which is awkward now. No love story here, just a messy timeline bombshell waiting to drop.
Me and Mr. Harris started talking. We used to go to high school together. We're Facebook friends. Mr. Harris, I made him my man crush Monday. He's a He's a good guy, hardworking, good father. We messaged back and forth on Facebook for a while. After that, we exchanged numbers. And after that, we started hanging out, getting up, and it just kind of went from there.
Miss Capples brings out a timeline, claiming her conception dates align with being with Mr. Harris. She's got evidence, but Mr. Harris shrugs, saying, I don't remember dates. Then it's revealed he doesn't even know her real name.
As you can see, my son Jason was born January 9th, 2016. Me and Mr. Harris were intimate for 9 months, all the way up until May. We started talking around September, Mr. Harris. Like I said, all the way up until the beginning of May. If you go back 9 months, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, it'll bring you to April.
He only knew her as Muffin, which the judge finds shocking. You didn't know her actual name? She asks. Mr. Harris's response? Yeah. Cue cringing as we head to the hospital drama.
When we contacted Mr. Harris and told him that Ms. Shatera Caples summons him for a DNA test, he said, I don't know who you're talking about. I said, Muffin?
That is correct. I'm pretty sure I told him my name. Would you remember Shantira or would you remember Muffin? Would I go by around town?
If you having sex for that many months with the same person without using any protection, you gotta at least know their name.
Mr. Harris skipped the birth, claiming work, and later refused to sign the birth certificate because the baby didn't look like him. Miss Capples was furious, and things got worse when we found out who else was there.
When you came up to the hospital to see the baby, did you sign the birth certificate?
No, I did not.
Because you did not want to, or you were not even asked?
Well, I wasn't asked. I had my doubts. I had been at my doubts. She wasn't even there for the birth. I mean, we did. So what? Were you at work when she went into labor? Probably, but you were at the hospital, right? Does not matter. That might not even be your baby. And what?
Plot twist. His girlfriend worked at the hospital and was on Miss Capples' floor. Miss Capples says she was messy, while the girlfriend insists she was professional. The judge tries to keep order, but chaos reigns.
What is this about the hospital room, Miss Capples?
She was undergoing surgery, getting ready to have my tubes tied.
That is my job.
As a woman, I would not want to be in a room with a woman that's having my boyfriend's baby.
Okay, so you were the patient.
That's a little too much.
But wait a minute, Miss Cape. You work at the hospital. It was where they told you your station or where you were supposed to be. You were assigned to that.
Today, we got our stuff to do. Yes, ma'am.
The results are in.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Harris, you are not the father.
Thank you.
You didn't sleep with no one else.
There you go. We good.
This case kicks off wild right away. Ms. Hummel claims Mr. Pack is the dad of her 8-month-old baby, Lola, but he denies it, blaming his girlfriend, Ms. Fuentas. Determined to prove him wrong, Ms. Hummel insists on a DNA test. Meanwhile, Mr. Pack and Ms. Fuentas just want her out of their lives. Buckle up, because this is only the beginning of the chaos.
You claim you were caught in a love triangle with the defendant and his current girlfriend, which has left him denying he fathered your 8-month-old daughter, Lola, for a DNA test to prove that he is her biological father. You and your current girlfriend 100% certain you are not Lola's biological father, and when the results prove it, you want Miss Hummel out of your life for good.
Hold on to your seats as the court delves into Ms. Fuentes' history. Turns out she's been involved with multiple men from the same family, and she's not denying a thing. The drama intensifies as secrets spill and accusations fly, setting the stage for even more chaos.
She has been known to sleep around while in relationships.
Well, Miss Fuentes, we hate to bring up the past, but you've appeared in this court.
I have.
Before.
Yep.
You've been in this courtroom. In this particular hearing, you pretty much admitted to the fact that you had had sex with several members of the same family.
Yes.
Ms. Fuentes admits to sleeping with her ex during the crucial time frame her baby Anthony might have been conceived. With no protection involved, the courtroom buzzes with disbelief. The paternity mystery deepens, and tensions rise as everyone scrambles to make sense of the messy timeline.
Well, the way I feel about it is if you've seen my other 2 kids, they look identical. The one with the man that I slept with, my ex. This baby looks nothing like them. He looks like him.
I wish we could go on looks, but we can't in this courtroom. And the truth is, regardless of what you think, it still doesn't mean anything, because the truth is Mr. Pack just stated in court that he is concerned.
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Hummel reveals that she and Mr. Pack had been on and off since 2015. When she got pregnant, they broke up because he wouldn't get a job, only for him to move in with Ms. Fuentes 2 days later. She's left pregnant and confused while they argue over who was sleeping where and when.
Your Honor, there is also another 2 guys in the beginning of the relationship before I came that lived in the vicinity where she lived at.
That is wrong. I dated one guy and we had broke up in December and we got back together in January.
That is wrong, because during January to March, we did not have no sexual at all. And the baby is born in November, so that time does not add up.
We were together.
Mr. Pack pulls out a calendar to argue he wasn't with Ms. Hummel during Lola's conception, but she counters, saying he was at her house almost every night. Stories clash, confusion reigns, and the crowd eats up the drama. All eyes are now on the DNA test results to settle the dispute.
He submitted a calendar to the court that outlines why he believes he is not Lola's biological father. So, Mr. Pack, you say that during January, February, and March, you were broken up with Miss Hummel. You had no sex with her.
Yes, Your Honor.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Pack, you are the father.
I told you.
This case starts wild. A guy named Mr. Jenkins shows up, claiming he's Andrea Bond's long-lost dad. He says he's been looking for her for 24 years, but Andrea's not buying it. Her birth certificate doesn't even list a dad, so she's ready to shut this down.
Mr. Jenkins, you reached out to the court to open a case. You believe that you have a long-lost daughter and hope to one day find her to prove you are her father. So we've located the woman you believe is your daughter, and she's here in court today.
Andrea's story is heartbreaking. Her parents died in a car accident in 1999, leaving her to be raised by relatives. Now she's homeless and raising 2 boys, and the struggle is real. The room shifts big time, and her pain is clear, setting up an emotional case.
He died in a car accident in 1999 with my mother, and I believe that that was my father.
You don't have any information?
No information.
No one's ever told you anything?
No one's ever told me anything.
And Mr. Jenkins,
Yes.
You have known about this young woman all her life.
I've been looking for her over 24 years, Your Honor. Me and her mother was in college together, and I'm telling you, she was banging. I mean,
Mr. Jenkins brings out an old ultrasound picture, claiming he was super involved during Andrea's mom's pregnancy. He says he's kept it for 24 years, which is sweet but intense. The court's reactions are split between awe and, wait, is this real?
it's an ultrasound picture that I used to go to the hospital with her.
So when you found out she was pregnant,
I was excited. I said, I got my first child. I got a girl. You know, I was just blown away.
so this
Okay,
is an ultrasound picture of Miss Bond
Yes.
If you
that
guys-
you've saved all
Yeah,
these years.
Over 24 years, I've been saving that picture right there.
Mr. Jenkins's efforts Andrea isn't holding back, asking why he didn't show up sooner if he cared so much. She questions how hard he actually tried to find her. The tension skyrockets, and Mr. Jenkins struggles to explain.
I used to go over one of your family members' house. I used to come over there every Christmas. I used to go there. It kept me out on the porch. I knocked on doors. I like to submit one more thing to the court.
I
Your
have
Honor.
a Facebook page. If you went for social media, you could have found me.
I did everything I could do. I've been looking for you over 24 years. That's one of your numbers that I had contacted.
Mr. Jenkins says Andrea's family blocked him out after her mom died. He claims he left his number and kept trying, but Andrea isn't buying it. The truth feels blurry, and the court's on edge.
I lost contact, like I told you, after people got in her head, took her away from me. I went by there and left my phone number, and Xavier called me. I was excited. I could get my girl, I could see my baby now. I said, well,
You
where
should
are
have
you?
saw me regardless of whether or not she was in another relationship. You shouldn't have let anything get in between you being with her or you seeing me, being around me, raising me.
Mr. Jenkins reveals he's worried about dying without a will after watching Prince's situation. He says he wants to leave everything to Andrea, so he doubled down on finding her. It's a heartfelt moment, but all eyes are on the DNA results.
Not just a while back, you know, music artist Prince had died. He didn't have any estate or nothing to leave any of his stuff to. So the things that I have or the things that I accomplished in life, I like to leave them to my daughter.
And you look at him. Do you see yourself at all? Do you say, I kind of feel like I look like him?
I look more like him to me, in my opinion.
The big reveal.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Jenkins, you are her father.
So me and Dominique became friends. We got close. We was like brother, sister, and we had sex every day, nonstop.
You said you all were like brother and sister?
We was friends. We was close, like brother and sister. We was friends.
We was hanging together, Yana. We were only friends.
That's a picture at my granny's funeral.
And it says, gotta love your siblings, laugh out loud, and I am my sister's keeper.
My grandmother made peace with me before she passed away. She told me about the rumors. She told me that she do not like my mother. Not only did my granny say that, because I started to get up at funeral and tell them what my granny said, but I said that's not the proper time.
This is already a disaster. A pastor might have fathered a child with a woman 28 years younger. To make it wilder, another guy is outside waiting for a surprise no one wants.
You're a church pastor and bishop who may have fathered a child with a woman who's 28 years younger than you. So you admit you were involved with 3 different men during the time you conceived your daughter, including Mr. House.
Pastor House met Ms. Webster while moving for a church job. Instead of just prayers, he made it clear he had manly needs. He says they bonded over tragedies, but this is all leading to a paternity test.
I met her, we began to talk to Mom. I went through tragedy, I lost my child. She's kind of brought a connection. There was a connection, I thought she was hot. And after exchanging numbers, I decided that I wanted to follow up on this. So we set a date for the following week and we went out and, we just had a great time together.
Ms. Webster says they met at church. House says it was a fast food joint. Either way, things escalated fast. Then, on national TV, he calls her a hoochie.
But instead of that, it was like more, it led on to sexual, unprotected sex.
I didn't meet her at a church. I met her at a fast food joint and we exchanged a number.
That's wrong, Your Honor. We met at church.
Looked at each other and quickly she became a hoochie and that's what it was all about.
Excuse me,
Miles Jones arrives, thinking he's confirming fatherhood. Instead, he finds out about House. His face goes from happy to be here to what in the world.
So, Ms. Webster, you were in fact sleeping with someone else during that time?
Yes, sure.
But I wasn't.
Who's that person?
Mr. Miles Jones. He was a boyfriend. We knew each other for 5 years, but it was an on and off relationship.
House claims Webster used him for money, but she says he never gave her a dime. Miles Jones says he was the one buying diapers. Judge Lake roasts House, but first, they need to find the dad.
I think she's with me for money.
Well, how do you think that when you never even gave me a penny?
Because things could be, I did. She'll tell you that her phone was off. Her phone went on, my bankroll's on swollen, and I kept her phone.
For baby Amelia, and just in case you end up being the father, we know we won't have any problems getting some child support.
Webster says she called House after getting pregnant, but his phone was disconnected. House swears he only found out 30 days ago. He stayed in town, but never heard from her.
When I found out I was pregnant, I was trying to contact Mr. House. His phone was disconnected. First, I never knew he left town. And then I didn't even get in contact to tell him until after I had my baby. He denied her. He wanted a DNA test. And for his money to be on full when I asked him for diapers and everything, where was they?
Miles Jones finds out 5 to 6 months into the pregnancy. He asks if the baby is his, and Webster vaguely says, it's a possibility. Not exactly reassuring.
I came over on a regular hookup to go meet up with her. We was gonna go out, do what we normally do. And then she said to me, I'm pregnant. I said, really? I said, how long? She was like, I'm about 5 to 6 months.
I'm pregnant. Did you then tell him, and you're the father?
No, I told him it's a possibility that he can be my baby's father.
The birth certificate has no father's name, but the baby has Miles Jones's last name. Everyone is confused. He insists he was there all along, but now it's time for a twist.
Let me look at this birth certificate.
Hold on. I haven't even seen the birth certificate, but I did sign some papers at Amelian's birth.
Yes, and I told you that your name wasn't going on there because it was a possibility that you was not my baby father.
But I've been there since day one.
Nothing.
Exactly.
Nothing listed under the name of father. You made her last name Miles Jones.
That's my last name.
Yes.
House says he's holding back emotions after losing a child. Miles Jones hopes the baby is his, but he's not seeing the resemblance. The truth is coming.
Because I went through a tragedy and I lost a 6-year-old daughter. She was killed as well. I just keep that barrier there. I feel like it's safe for me. Yeah, when I was younger, I was hoping to have a child. I didn't have one. So when you get to this stage, I just want to guard my emotions, especially after hearing what I heard today.
Mr. Miles Jones, you are not her father.
This kicked off like a soap opera with no breaks. Ms. Robinson is furious. Her so-called friend, Ms. Jackson, slept with her son. Now Jackson claims he's the father, despite having a whole lineup of men. The courtroom turns into a reality show instantly.
You've opened this case for your son because you're furious with your former friend, the defendant, and is now claiming he fathered her child, even though you know she was sleeping with many more men.
Jackson doesn't hesitate. She admits it. No guilt, no shame. But she flips the script, saying Chaplin refuses to step up. Chaplin, looking like he got hit by a bus, denies being the father. The audience gasps, and we're just getting started.
Ms. Jackson, you admit you slept with your friend's son without her knowledge, but claim the one thing you know is the plaintiff is a deadbeat who has done nothing for your 3-month-old daughter, Milani, and that needs to change today.
Chaplin is way too confident for a guy on a paternity test show. He insists they were just friends, but also says Jackson had plenty of other options. Judge Lake gives him a look like, boy, do you hear yourself? And then chaos erupts.
I'm absolutely sure I'm not the father, 100%
Explain.
positive, because during the time that I knew her, we never was in a relationship. We was only friends throughout the entire time. I've known her to talk to several other men.
Just talking? You gotta do more than talking to make a baby.
Oh yeah, well, whenever we used to hang out or whatever, she had multiple people coming around. You know, a guy was spending a lot of time.
Jackson isn't holding back. She claims they weren't just friends. They were very friendly, all day, every day. Then she calls his mom, Cousin It, and his sister Shrek. The audience loses it. Reality TV gold.
Me and Dominique was having sex numerous of times every day. Okay, so therefore, for him to say that I was sleeping with somebody else, he's lying. The only one who got him thinking that is Cousin It over there, which is his mother.
It.
And dang on
It. Throughout the whole time I talked to this young lady, she had more than one cell phone.
Hold on, let's get some order. Let's get some order.
Robinson goes full mom mode. She took Jackson in, helped her, fed her, and Jackson repaid her by sleeping with her son. Robinson is personally offended and makes sure Jackson knows it. And somehow, it's about to get even worse.
Me and her son was friends.
Old school. I'm 48 years old.
And you dang
I
13 years older than me,
any other
honey.
woman my age,
You're 2
I
years
don't
older
care
than
if
me,
he's
honey.
upset or not.
It
You do
doesn't
not
matter.
sleep
He's
with
grown.
somebody
He's
who
grown.
told your kids
He's
you
grown.
don't sleep with my son when he had already had something going on. I don't give a dang if he is of age. I took the child in, and she
I don't
slept
need
with
you
my
to say
son
that
that hurt.
mama.
This is a life lesson in betrayal. Robinson took Jackson under her wing, never imagining she'd mess with her son. Just when it seems like it can't get worse, another bombshell drops.
She was a young girl out here that needed some help with 5 kids, ma'am. And I done been through what she been through. So my payment back was to sleep with my son.
You befriend her once you met her.
Yes.
And you all started what? You
Going to the school dances. I got pictures of that. They need to put it up there. I fed them. I put them in my house. All them pictures that you see, that we was to the school children's dance, Valentine's dance.
Jackson attempts to justify it by saying she and Chaplin were like brother and sister. Judge Lake is baffled because that's not how siblings work. Jackson doubles down. The audience groans. Chaplin face palms. Even the courtroom walls are tired.
So me and Dominique became friends. We got close. We was like brother, sister, and we had sex every day, nonstop.
Miss Jackson, that sounds nasty. Now, you said you all were like brother and sister.
We was friends. We was close like brother and sister. We was friends. Every time you see him, me and him hanging out together.
We was hanging together, Yana. We were only friends.
Having sex while we was friends.
You know what I'm saying? So after
every night.
Chaplin enters let me tell y'all something mode. He reveals a random guy once stopped his car just to demand why Jackson wasn't answering his calls. And Jackson introduced Chaplin as her brother. He is speechless.
Not only that, one day we were walking down the street, a couple of guys were honking the horn, you know, trying to get her attention, but these are people that she knew, not just people who just thought she, and one guy stopped, he rode by and spoke, came back by and had to stop the car to speak to her. He was like, you know, why haven't you been answering my phone calls, or why haven't I been able to catch up with you? He ended up giving both of us a ride. She gets in the front seat with him, I get in the back seat. She's telling this man that I'm her brother.
Robinson is livid. Jackson admits to sleeping with one other guy, but insists Chaplin is the father. Robinson yells that if the test proves it, Chaplin is stepping up. The courtroom is chaos.
It was 2 married men she hit to me, but people that know me know I don't fool with married men, and I don't flow with that, and you can't talk to me about that. So she never told me the names, but she hinted it.
It was only one other man, but at the end of the day, me and Dominique was having sex every day. Shut up, mind your business. I hope while you up there riding him out, you can take care of this dang on child support when this DNA test come back.
Text messages reveal Chaplin was excited when the baby was born. Texting OMG, she's so beautiful. The audience gasps. Robinson, however, is still ready to fight.
So, Mr. Chaplin, oh my God, where's she at? I guess that's where.
Yes.
What you doing? Where is my daughter? Pound 7 ounce, 18.5 inches, born at 5:39 a.m. Mr. Chaplin, you right. Oh my God, yes, yes, yes. Hey, I want to see her.
Why you ain't game?
Robinson delivers the line of the century. She told Chaplin to wait for Dana. Who's Dana? Oh, just her hilarious way of saying DNA. The courtroom cracks up, but the big moment is here.
They came and gave me a pregnancy test. I said, where you got it from? He said, her. I said, take her back to the clinic yourself. Wait, and then bring me that test back. He took her to the clinic. She took the test. Okay, we know she's pregnant. I said, now come back, talk to me when you got Dana. I said, let's go see her.
Who's Dana?
Dana is DNA.
Oh,
and that's what we here for today, to see Dana, honey.
Dana comes, or when you go see Dana, that's the DNA?
That's right.
Right before the results, Robinson drops another bomb. Jackson was also with a married man. Jackson loses it, calling her a liar. But now it's time for Dana to speak.
She wasn't just sleeping with him. When the married man came to talk to my son, it was me, my son, and the dude. And I bet you this ain't gonna come back Dominique Chapman, baby. So, I bet you this gonna come back somebody else, baby.
You are saying you believe that there is a married man somewhere in this picture who could potentially be the father of Milani?
Yes.
And the results say?
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Chaplin, you are the father.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
This whole thing kicks off like a TV show gone wild. Mr. Butterfield says he might be the dad, but thinks Ms. Bracknell just wants to stay with her new guy, Mr. Dallas. Get ready, because this love mess is just warming up.
You've summoned your ex-girlfriend, Ms. Bracknell, to paternity court to prove that you are the father of her 2-month-old daughter, Cara. You say she's denying you are Cara's dad because she's worried her family will be torn apart when the results prove you are the father.
Things get weird fast. Ms. Bracknell called the baby a gift, and Mr. Butterfield took it way serious. He starts thinking maybe he's the daddy after all. But oh boy, it gets even messier from here.
She had told me when we were breaking up, she said, "Thank you for the gift." And I said, "What gift was that?"
And it wasn't till later that you found out she was pregnant.
That is correct. You're
And then when you found that out, you thought to yourself, was that the gift?
The baby?
That's what you thought.
Yes, Your
When
Honor.
she said thank you for the gift, you said, oh, that's what she was talking about.
Yes, Your Honor.
She switched boyfriends faster than a remote clicks channels. Ms. Bracknell says she wasn't pregnant when she moved in with Mr. Dallas. Hang on, because the calendar drama is about to explode.
When did you find out you were pregnant?
Honestly, I didn't find out until 3 months after I did move out of his house because I was having irregular periods, so I just let it go for a minute. I'm not really a doctor person.
So you didn't go to the doctors for how long?
Mr. Dallas pulls out a calendar like it's a magic map. He says the baby can't be Butterfield's because of dates. But wait, Butterfield's got receipts too?
August, her and Jesse split up. September, we was
together. Moved in.
We were
So this calendar,
August,
the dates,
Mr. Butterfield split up.
when the relationship with Mr. Butterfield and Ms. Bracknell ended and when she came back to you.
Yeah.
Cara was conceived in mid-September and she was born in June.
Yes, ma'am.
Butterfield says they were still, hanging out after she left. He even offers to take a lie detector test, like he's in a spy movie. Next up, yelling and pointing fingers.
Because honestly, we were sleeping together after that, all the way up until October 8th, the last time we had sex. Because I remember, I can take a lie detector test if you want to prove it. Asking me for money for gas so you can go see him.
Yeah, I so asked you for money, huh?
Yeah.
So, Mr. Butterfield, you're saying that you were still having sex with Ms. Bracknell till October. So although these dates may be true, they are missing.
Yeah.
Mr. Dallas says he named the baby and cut the cord. Butterfield says he found out about the baby on Facebook. Ouch. Time for the past to jump back in.
So, Mr. Dallas, you named Cara.
Yes, Your Honor, I cut the umbilical cord.
Yeah, you could cut the umbilical cord because I wasn't there. She hid it from me for how long?
you were there. You were stalking
8
us
months
out
stalking you.
In the parking lot.
Yeah,
the only
don't
time that
even.
I actually
Don't
ever
even.
found out that you guys were even pregnant, it's a Facebook post that they posted on that the baby was even. That's before I even knew.
It
And then-
says-
Yep, that little girl's ready right there.
Butterfield says Bracknell hides pregnancies like squirrels hide snacks. He even says she cheated on his birthday. Double ouch. Things are heating up faster than pizza rolls in a microwave.
She hid all of her pregnancies. She even hid the one from her
no, I
youngest son,
didn't.
Carson. She hid from him.
No,
he wasn't even at.
I didn't know when she went into the hospital, yeah, but you know what? We're over it. It's
Isn't
in
that
the
hiding
past,
it from
and
you?
now we're done and over with.
Hides pregnancies.
Oh yeah, she'll even run to her exes. It's like pattern. She'll run to him. She'll run to
From
another guy that
people
she cheated on me on my birthday.
I did not cheat on you.
Butterfield tried to reach out, but Bracknell says his messages were scary. Judge Lake tries to cool everyone down. Just wait, she's got more to say.
When I found out about it, I messaged her mom, let him know I was coming. I blocked, obviously, on their
That you were
Facebook.
coming.
You
Let's
were blocked
explain
me
that text
before
message.
you guys even got-
5 seconds after I posted that, he texted my mom saying, I'm coming to get that girl. Just
Oh,
all threats.
Well, if I want to
is
be in my
pretty much
daughter's
what
life,
happened.
why wouldn't I
Okay,
be?
and there's nothing wrong with that if she is your daughter, but we'll see.
Yes, we were. We'll see right today,
We
won't
will.
we? That's why we're here.
Butterfield says the baby has his nose, lips, and hair, like a mini-me. Bracknell says, nah, all her kids had light hair that changed later. Only one way to settle this, DNA time.
She looks more like me. Her own family even tells
They
me.
ain't family.
They look like me. She's got my nose. She's got my lips.
We'll see.
She's got my brown hair.
We'll see.
All her boys are blonde.
Yep, and they've gone brown the older they get.
Exactly.
So you are convinced, Mr. Butterfield, this is your daughter?
Oh, I'm 100% convinced.
Cara's biological father is Mr. Butterfield.
This whole thing was a roller coaster from the start. Miss Tucker comes in claiming her late son as Keundra's dad, while also asking for $3,800 in benefits. Meanwhile, Miss Mosley isn't buying it because this isn't the first time someone tried this on her son.
Miss Tucker, you're here today for your son, 1-year-old Keandre Tucker. Now, you say you're unsure whether a man you've been in a sexual relationship with or the defendant's deceased son is his biological father. You're also suing Ms. Mosley for $3,800 in Social Security benefits.
Yes, Your Honor.
This love triangle was messier than spilled spaghetti. Miss Tucker says she was with both guys, but spent more time with Mr. Andrews, even bringing a calendar to prove it. She found out she was pregnant on March the 16th and did some quick math. But let's be real. Math in these situations is never 100% accurate.
When I met him, I did have a boyfriend, so, I was sleeping with 2 people at the same time, but it was more frequent with Mr. Andrews. And when I met him, I remember the exact date as if it was yesterday. I met him February the 6th. It was on my best friend's birthday. I actually have a calendar that I can actually show you too as well. From February 6th all the way from the 14th through the whole month, I was having sex with Mr. Andrews more frequent.
And here comes another twist. Miss Tucker says Mr. Andrews guessed she was pregnant before she even knew, while Miss Mosley says she only found out through a friend. When she asked her son, he flat out denied it, making things even messier.
Well, when I first found out, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna be upfront with both of them. I went to Mr. Andrews first. I told him first, like, hey, look, I'm pregnant. Actually, before I even went and took the pregnancy test, he was the one that made me go take it, because before he said, hey, you're pregnant. I'm looking like, really? Like, I felt like I was being trapped, because he told me I was pregnant before I even went and took a pregnancy.
This went from drama to full-on chaos. Miss Mosley says her son called Miss Tucker wild and mentioned she was a stripper. But Judge Lake isn't here for that nonsense. She reminds everyone that whether or not she danced. The real question is if Mr. Andrews is the father.
First of all, he was incarcerated at the time. We spoke every day. On this particular day that I found out, when he called, I got on him. I was like, Eric, what's going on? Are you about to have another child? And he said, Mom, she is wild. She's a stripper. She performs private parties.
Nobody in this situation actually knew what was going on. Miss Mosley is confused because her son told her about all his kids, except this one, while Miss Tucker says he wasn't honest about how many kids he had. Turns out, she didn't even know about his other kids until his funeral. Yikes.
Let me tell you, his first child, he was so excited. He came home, he said, Mom, I'm about to have my first child. He was at the hospital, then the second child came. He talked about the baby, took pictures, the third child, the first girl.
Things just kept getting worse. Miss Tucker says Mr. Andrews didn't support her or the baby, and only visited after 3 weeks because she didn't send him money in jail. Judge Lake is basically like, we have bigger problems to deal with here.
After I had my baby, that's when I got in contact with Miss Mosley. We on the phone. She like, oh, nice to meet you, Kendra. She said, well, Mr. Andrews just got out of jail or whatever. And I was like, okay, so let me try to contact him so he can come spend time with Keandre. Never happened. It took him 3 weeks to come see my baby. This is a newborn baby now. He was angry and frustrated with me because when he was incarcerated, I wasn't sending him no money.
Now we bring in Instagram receipts. Miss Mosley swears Miss Tucker is only in this for the money, and even shows social media posts comparing the baby to Eric. But the real shocker? This isn't even the first time someone tried to say her son was their baby daddy.
Miss Tucker is bringing you to court.
For the money. She wants a check. I was still mourning. I'm looking on Instagram, finding pictures like these of my son and her son together, and I'm not even sure if he is his son.
Money talk just made everything worse. Miss Tucker brings out a budget, saying she's been paying for everything alone, but Miss Mosley refuses to help without proof. Judge Lake agrees that DNA is the only way to settle this, and the suspense is real.
So you have a breakdown of monthly expenses, baby formula, clothes, childcare, totaling $400 per month.
And that's just half, and I think that's only fair.
And so the basis of your suit is that you would like half of that amount to be covered by Miss Mosley.
Yes.
So that would be $200 a month for 19 months.
Yes.
And so $3,800.
Yes.
You could feel the tension in the room.
It has been determined that Mr. Andrews is the biological father.
This thing got messy real fast. Ms. Heiser calls her ex-husband a textbook deadbeat who ditched her and their kid. Mr. Anbe fires back, saying she was juggling more guys than a talent show.
You say your ex-husband, Mr. Onby, is a textbook deadbeat who abandoned you and your daughter almost 20 years ago. You claim Mr. Onby has spent that time inventing outlandish excuses for denying his only daughter, but you say it all comes down to child support.
Things went from bad to soap opera real quick. Ms. Heiser says he was excited about the baby, but then some random guy popped up claiming to be the dad. Suddenly, Mr. Onby was playing detective instead of father.
He's never been there for Gabrielle since birth, emotionally, physically, financially. In the beginning, when I first met him, he seemed like a stand-up guy, a family man. The first year, we decided to get married. I had found out I was pregnant and told him. He was happy at first, told his friends and family. Within a few months, it started to deteriorate.
This dude treated fatherhood like a part-time job he didn't apply for. He showed up drunk, covered in grease, and dipped 2 hours later. 2 weeks later, he was back. Not for the baby, but for a place to crash.
He wasn't there with me through most of the pregnancy. The day that I had went into labor, he showed up halfway through the birth, drunk and full of grease. He stayed for 2 hours and left, and I didn't see him again for 2 more weeks till he showed up on my doorstep needing a place to stay and wanted to play daddy.
So, Mr. Onby, did you go back home after you came and saw Gabby in the hospital?
No, ma'am.
Gabby's 5th birthday was a disaster. Dad showed up for 10 minutes, promised her a toy, and then pulled a disappearing act. She's still waiting for that toy.
He was never really been in my life. My 5-year-old birthday party, he showed up to it for about 10 minutes. He left, told me he was going for a toy, didn't show back up with this toy, and didn't see him for years later.
And never came back?
Never came back, never
for
messaged
years?
me, never talked to me for years. I didn't see him for years.
Just when you think this can't get crazier, it does. Mr. Onby says he caught his wife cheating and left without a word, just grabbed his beer and bounced. Sounds like a bad country song.
So I immediately shot out the back door, cut across the neighbors, and came over to the house, to the front door. So I opened the door. The bedroom is maybe 40 feet from the front door. I heard them loud and clear. There was no doubt in my mind what they were doing. They were having sex. It was very loud. You could hear it clearly as day. I grabbed a 6-pack of beer out of the fridge, which was mine. I hit the front door and I never looked back.
Because what's a messy court case without Facebook drama? Mr. Onby finds a post where Gabby calls another man dad. Turns out, a family member had been telling her lies for years.
Because I don't know for surely that she's not mine. I have snapshots off Facebook. Gabrielle was telling this other man that he was the father and that she knew he was her daddy.
So, Mr. Onby, you're saying you saw this on Facebook?
Yes, ma'am.
And this is a post from Gabby that says, "My daddy."
Yes, ma'am.
After years of running, the truth hits hard.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Onby, you are the father.
This case is totally wild. A man drowning in child support debt for a kid who may not even be his. Mr. Wooten and his daughter, Miss Smith, are here to prove that Miss Backus is not his child. Meanwhile, Miss Backus is demanding an apology. And trust me, this is about to get messy.
You and your father, Mr. Wooten, are suing to prove Miss Backus is not his biological daughter. You say your dad owes more than $92,000 in back child support for a child who isn't his and is on the verge of losing everything because his income is being garnished by 50% each month to pay off that debt.
Imagine losing half your paycheck every month for over 30 years for a kid that might not even be yours. Miss Smith explains that her dad is struggling financially because of a $92,000 debt. And just when you think that's bad, Miss Backus is about to fire back with some heat.
Primarily through the actions of her mother being very deceitful with my father from the very beginning of their relationship. They initially did not start that they began to garnish half of his wages until the point that they started garnishing his wages. It was going into arrears, drawing interest, and now is over $92,606.06.
Miss Backus remembers being a little girl crying while doctors took her blood for a DNA test. She says she always loved her father, even though he never showed up for her. The audience is clapping, and she's about to make sure everyone hears her side.
She made me go to the doctors. First of all, I remember being young and scared, and I started crying for my dad. He made me sit in his chair, and there were about 5 or 6 doctors that held me down and blew dry for me. And all I remember is I kept screaming for my father. And I ain't never stopped loving my father, even if they don't claim me. But they gonna learn today.
Mr. Wooten swears he dated Miss Backus's mom for only 4 months, but Miss Backus says her mom told her it was 7 years. Someone's math is way off, and the judge is trying to figure out the truth. Spoiler, it's just going to get more confusing.
I met her mother, I think about 2 months after we met, been together. She said she was pregnant. 4 months after we was together, we broke up.
Well, Daddy, you and Mama got two different stories, and I'm coming to find out the truth.
So, Mr. Wooten, you're saying the relationship was 4 months long?
Once she was 4 months pregnant with her, we broke up. I realized that most of the things that she was only interested in was me helping her financially.
Miss Backus has photos proving she was once part of the Wooten family. Miss Smith admits she knew about her, but was never sure if she was really her sister. Now, the argument is turning into a full-on courtroom roast.
That's a picture at my granny's funeral.
And it says, gotta love your siblings, laugh out loud, and I am my sister's keeper.
My grandmother made peace with me before she passed away. She told me about the rumors. She told me that she do not like my mother. Not only did my granny say that, because I started to get up at the funeral and tell them what my granny said, but I said that's not the proper time.
Mr. Wooten says his own mom never believed Miss Backus was his kid. But before she passed, he told her she was just to keep the peace. Miss Backus is shook, and the courtroom is dead silent.
My mother was dying, and I would not deny her. In other words, my mother for years kept saying, you know she's not your daughter. And up to that point, when I told my mother, I said, yes, she is, you know. That's when my mother decided to apologize to her.
That she is your daughter.
I stopped trying to stop the drama. Here, you have to understand
They only doing this because it's all about the money.
Miss Smith says the real issue is the $92,000 debt ruining her father's life. She says she was the one caring for him, while Miss Backus says she was kept away to avoid rumors. Things are getting personal, and it's all leading up to the big reveal.
Is for the financial ruin over the back child support over $90,000. I want that to stop. If she is not his child, because he was about to lose his home,
your help.
I was the one there taking him back and forth to his doctor's appointments. I was the one that was there at the hospital
But you're
with
not
him
the only
when
daughter.
he has.
The only
I was
daughter.
the one that
You are,
set up
but
his
you're not the
medication.
only
Let her finish.
The moment of truth is here, and the whole courtroom holds its breath.
Mr. Wooten Jr., you are not her father.